Welcome to WhoHowWorld, where we uncover the hidden origins behind the things we use, love, and take for granted. Today's story is called the Penicillin Coincidence, and trust me, as usual, this one will make you see the world a little differently. From the people who sparked an idea, to the accidents that changed history, to the ripple effects still shaping our lives today, this is the untold journey behind the Penicillin Coincidence. Let's dive in. The Penicillin Coincidence. The most life-saving drug in human history wasn't discovered by brilliance, but by a messy desk, a forgotten petri dish, an open window, and a bit of airborne mold drifting in at exactly the right moment. Penicillin, the drug that saved hundreds of millions of lives, began with an accident that almost went straight into the trash. London, 1928. Inside St. Mary's Hospital, a Scottish bacteriologist named Alexander Fleming was doing what he did best, fighting a war against bacteria and losing more battles than he was winning. Fleming wasn't the polished, lab-coat-perfect type of scientist. His colleagues joked that he could lose an experiment even if it was nailed to the table. His desk was a battlefield of half-finished petri dishes, ink-stained papers, and coffee cups he kept forgetting to wash. But beneath the chaos lived a man obsessed with one question: why can't we stop infections from killing people? In an era before antibiotics, even a simple cut could turn deadly. A scratched knee, a splinter, a birth, a surgery, any of these could become a death sentence. Fleming believed the answer was hidden somewhere in the microscopic world. He just didn't know he was about to stumble right into it. Late in the summer of 1928, Fleming left London for a short holiday, leaving behind a stack of petri dishes coated with Staphylococcus bacteria, dangerous microbes that caused painful infections. When he returned, the lab was a disaster. Sunlight had baked the room, dishes had dried out, bacteria had grown wild. Most scientists would have trashed the whole pile, but Fleming, he liked to peek, just in case. And then he saw it. On one of the plates, a strange blue-green mold was eating its way through the bacteria. Not spreading, repelling. Around the mold was a perfect circle, a clean halo, where no bacteria could survive. Fleming stared at it, confused, then fascinated, then electrified. He whispered to himself, "This is something new." That mold, Penicillium notatum, had drifted in from the air through an open window, a random spore, at a random time, landing in a random dish. The greatest accidental discovery in medical history. But there was a problem. Fleming had found the miracle, but he couldn't make enough of it. The mold produced penicillin slowly and fragilely. Attempts to grow it in liquid failed. Some colleagues shrugged and moved on. For nearly 10 years, penicillin was nothing more than a scientific curiosity, a miracle nobody could reproduce. Then came World War II. Infections were killing more soldiers than bullets. The world desperately needed a weapon against bacteria. Enter two scientists at Oxford, Howard Florey and Ernst Chain. They rediscovered Fleming's forgotten research and realized its world-shifting potential. With limited resources, they grew mold in soup jars, bathtubs, milk churns, and even women's cosmetic bottles. They tested it on mice, then on humans, and when it worked, really worked, governments went into overdrive. By 1944, US and British factories were mass-producing penicillin for the war front. Soldiers called it miracle juice. Infections once considered a death sentence vanished in days. Amputation rates plummeted, wound survival soared. The world had changed almost overnight. Penicillin didn't just save lives, it changed everything about medicine. Surgeries became safer, childbirth became safer. Treatable diseases went from lethal to mild. Life expectancy rose. New antibiotics followed in its footsteps. Today, penicillin remains one of the most widely used and essential medicines on Earth. But its discovery also teaches us something important. The more we use antibiotics, the stronger bacteria become. Some now resist the very drug that saved humanity. We are still living inside the ripple of Fleming's accident and still fighting to protect it. So what created the most important medical breakthrough in history? A single microscopic mold spore floating through the London air, landing in exactly the right place at exactly the right moment. A discovery that saved hundreds of millions, born from nothing more than a forgotten dish on a cluttered desk. Sometimes history's greatest miracles don't begin with genius. Sometimes they begin with chance. If a forgotten petri dish could change the world, imagine how many other hidden stories are still waiting to be uncovered. If you want more mysteries of who found what, how it spread, and why we still use it today, hit subscribe and join us on this journey through the world's most surprising origins. Penicillin wasn't the only world-changing discovery born from an accident. Some were found in kitchens, some in caves, and some in moments of pure luck. If you want to know them all, tap subscribe and turn on notifications. There's a whole world of unbelievable origins waiting for you, right here on WhoHowWorld. What did you learn from this story? Share it in the comments. I genuinely love to read your thoughts. See you in the next one.